Guys, and that's why we're here at Darlington Raceway.
Never heard this one before.
Jeff's going to take us on his fast track of knowledge. He's got a bunch of topics. So are you ready to go?
That's
Rev
right.
up the engine.
We'll start right
here we go.
in turn one. And Allen Robinson is no doubt a beast.
Right.
But it's Jarvis Landry on this list as well, who is a guy that the Dolphins are trying to figure out if they're going to keep him around or not. And right now, those negotiations are ongoing. The one thing I think a lot of people are discounting is the possibility that it doesn't just have to be he either stays or walks. He could still pick up the transition tag, the franchise tag. There are other options on the table. In fact, at this point, based on where I believe negotiations are, I would say him walking is the least of those candidates. I expect that Landry will still be in a Dolphins uniform in 2018.
Okay, that's good news for Dolphin fans. Are you ready to make your way to turn two?
I will make my way, and I will see you later. Because another big offseason situation for a lot of these players is the franchise and the transition tag. Teams can start to implement those on February 20th, and then they have until March 6th to figure out when exactly they will do that. One of those guys that we should be watching here, Case Keenum, the Vikings quarterback, the guy who broke out last season, making $2 million a year. Well, guess what? Now he has a chance to make about $21 million a year. The Vikings do have an interesting decision to make. If they do want to franchise or transition Case Keenum, they'll definitely have to pay out, but they don't really have a quarterback there right now under contract. So this could be the best option for a team that needs to have somebody under center. They did lose Pat Shermer, though, at the offensive coordinator spot. I would anticipate that he winds up with the transition tag. It would allow Keenum to go out and talk to some other teams to see what he's worth. Also save the Vikings a little bit of coin along the way. I'm going to make my way over to turn three, but first, I'm a little tired already. I need my man Damian Woody over here.
Man, Jeff, you know I got you, brother.
We need a little bit of makeup, too.
Sit down, man.
I'm a vain man.
You got to hydrate a little bit.
I'm going to hydrate, and I'm going to let you tell me what you think about Case Keenum as a player.
Oh, absolutely. I thought Case Keenum was very impressive this past season. But one reason is his pocket presence. What you saw from Case Keenum, when the pressure was around him along his feet, his eyes were constantly down the field, making plays down the field. And you'll just see in these highlights time and time again, there's pressure all around Case Keenum, but he was still able to deliver the ball. Not only deliver it, but deliver it accurately. And people underestimate his legs. He has the feet to get out of out of situations and get the ball to his receivers. He's going to be in play, whether it's Minnesota Vikings or some other team.
Man, that took a while.
Okay.
Normally pit stops about 16 seconds, but I'm a little out of shape, so I appreciate the extra breather. Thank you very much. I'm going to go over to turn three over here, and we're going to talk a little scouting combine, because that is another massive part about the NFL offseason, and a massive star in this situation is Baker Mayfield, the Oklahoma star. Now, a lot of people want to talk about Johnny Manziel when it comes to Baker Mayfield, but I have talked to a number of offensive head coaches, Sean McVay, Sean Payton. These are guys that love Baker Mayfield already. I saw McVay having a conversation at the Super Bowl with Mayfield, telling him, don't you worry about any of those comparisons out there. You be you. You stick to who you are, and you will be a star in this league. I believe that offensive coaches love Baker Mayfield, and those are the guys that I am going to listen to.
Jeff,
now,
you're almost there.
I'm almost there, Susie.
Four. It's the final stretch.
I appreciate that.
And we know that the trade deadline is coming. So tell us about two big-name Seahawks that could impact that.
Yet another big part of the NFL offseason, and in this situation, I am wondering what is going to happen with the Seahawks. Everybody in Seattle knows that change is a-coming, including Michael Bennett, who has said it publicly himself. Now, both these players are in interesting spots from a salary standpoint. Bennett just signed a deal about, 18 months ago, a pretty big deal, but he is already in limbo a little bit. Richard Sherman, another guy going into the final year of his contract, coming off of an injury. I'll be very curious to see what John Schneider, the general manager, does. He's one of the smartest in the league, but he's going to face some very difficult questions.
Yeah, I think we might be at the end of an era with the Legion of Boom. These guys are getting older. They've played tremendous football for the past few years, but I think it might be time for transition for the Seattle Seahawks moving forward.
What do you think of his driving?
It didn't crash.
He didn't crash. That's always a good thing. I liked how he maneuvered around the car.
I'm not trying to win. I'm just trying not to come in last. I'm not really one of you competitive types. I'm just
okay, I got it.
Trying to get by.
And just saying, with all the stuff coming up in the NFL offseason, we know that Adam Schefter is home hydrating.
Yes, that's right.
So good job. Only one pit stop.
The real winner.